You can't just go to the gym once and be done. Like you're not done after that. You have to go every day or every other day, very consistently to see any real progress. And you also need to, you can't outwork out a bad diet either. If you're consuming twice your daily intake that you should be and running 3 miles at the end of the day, it's not going to make a difference. Like you're
Right.
not canceling out what there's no net bad there. It's all bad.
Exactly. Well,
And
as we know, you can't outrun your fork, right? Welcome to Salad with a Side of Fries. I'm your host, Jenn, talking wellness and weight loss for real life. We're here to clear up the myths, misinformation, bad science, and marketing to teach you how to eat and how to cheat. Are you ready? I'm having salad with a side of fries. Hey friends, welcome back to Salad with a Side of Fries. I'm your health coach and host, Jenn, always here with you every week for wellness without the weirdness. And I have two friends joining me today. Paul and Cayla are here. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you for having us.
hello.
Yeah. We're going to do a slightly different conversation than many of our frequent listeners are used to. So we're going to hear more from Paul and Cayla about what they've learned and their insights and transformations from working with me. So I always say every week, like I'm your health coach, but I really was for Paul and Cayla. So maybe let's start with a little bit of an intro. So Paul, we met through a business networking group, and Paul's a financial advisor. You live in New Jersey. Anything else you want to share just by way of a quick intro?
I've always been interested in health and nutrition, didn't do much with it over the years. And then, like you said, we met at a business networking group, and it just became a good idea to chat. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Yeah, but we're going to dig into that, right? And then Cayla is Paul's daughter. Cayla is in college outside of Boston. So we worked together last summer, actually, when you were home from college. How is it being back at school this year?
It's been great. Yeah, I'm a little further from campus this go around, so I pack a lunch every single day. And I make sure it touches my nutrition boxes for the most part.
I love it. We're going to talk all about that and what maybe you would have before. So,
And
Oh
nobody
God.
can steal your eggs this time, Cayla.
No.
yeah, exactly. So, I guess maybe to the extent that you're willing to share, Paul, you mentioned you were always sort of interested in health and nutrition and wellness and those kinds of things. But like, where were you with stuff when you were like, hey, maybe I should talk to Jenn?
So I was on and off exercising. I was probably off then, and then got back, and then restarted my restarted it. It's an off again, on again, love-hate relationship. Probably after we started working together, interested in managing my eating. I don't have a sweet tooth. I think I have about 36 of them. So my downfall is always the sweets. And, I don't eat meat, haven't eaten meat since 1989. So that goes back a ways. But, but that doesn't mean that I'm always healthy. You think, oh, yeah, he doesn't eat meat. Well, no, if I have too many sweets, it's going the wrong way. So it's a constant battle to manage that desire. I don't have a desire for salt. I have a desire for sweets. I don't mind salt, but I want sweets. And then working together helped me manage that in a large degree, and protein and fiber and all
Right.
those conversations that I'm sure you're going to ask us about, and I'm just running off at the mouth, so I'll stop now.
No, I love it. It's great. And I will say one of the things for you, Paul, a big thing of our focus was energy and sort of stamina through the day. You are a big caffeine drinker, not sensitive to caffeine.
No, not sensitive to caffeine at all. I can drink a quad espresso at midnight and have no problem falling asleep because I'm always super tired. So one of the things that we worked on, major thing we worked on was energy, and some of that was medical, unbeknownst to me, because why go to doctors? And then I went to doctors and figured out that there was a thing which I dealt with. So that improved for a
Yeah.
period of time, and now it's just an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
ongoing
Well, and I think that's the
exercise.
piece of this, right? It's always ongoing and it sort of evolves. And, it's not a straight line, right? No matter where we're starting or where we're going, you know,
Yes, most
life.
definitely.
So, yeah. And Cayla, when we first started, you were like, I'm just lazy about my food. Like, I don't want to cook for myself. Like, you were a
Yeah.
relatively picky eater.
I'm definitely a relatively picky eater. I also just had a zero understanding of nutrition at all. I recall many days before then that I had pasta breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or bagels
And flaming
breakfast,
hot
lunch, and dinner.
Cheetos.
Yeah, flaming hot Cheetos.
Flaming hot Cheetos. I
And
forgot about that.
yeah, and I was a big skeptic that what you eat actually makes a difference in how you feel in your life. And then over COVID, I went gluten free, and I had such a major increase in my quality of life that I just was not expecting in any way whatsoever. And I was like, what else is there? What else can I do for me to, like, is this just the baseline that a person's supposed to feel like? What can I do to get it up there and feel even better? And that's what nutrition has done for me so far. I definitely feel so much better on an everyday basis when I just take my vitamins and get enough protein and fiber in each meal. And now I'm on my fitness journey. So, second
Yeah.
part.
We're going to talk more about all of that. And I will say for you, the gluten-free choice was based in, a medical situation.
Yeah. For me, it was just like the pain became more inconvenient than losing all my favorite foods. So I was like, all right, fine, I'll try the gluten-free anti-inflammatory diet. So I did the whole elimination, no sugar, no fried foods, no gluten, low sodium, all of that jazz. And it really helped. And
Yeah.
then my skepticism went out the window because I actually had real evidence, blood work even, that indicates that my inflammation from gluten was significantly reduced after cutting it out.
Yeah. And a lot of that stuff was before we worked together. And then we helped you
Hmm.
find new favorite foods and evolve and all that good stuff. So I want to talk more about
Yeah.
some of those things that you guys tried. Really quick, though, we have to tell our members what they're getting this week before I forget. So, members, I'm sending you a recipe that is a perfect option for a dessert at your Thanksgiving. It's for healthier pumpkin bread with maple cream cheese glaze. It is, for Cayla, it's gluten-free. It's like 10 minutes of prep and then the oven does the rest. I think at Thanksgiving, it's a healthier option, but like no one's going to know. Like no one's going to guess and be like, oh, that's the healthy thing, And then on top of the recipe, I'm also sending you another tool, or I should say like a resource for Thanksgiving. It's one of my favorite exercises to do with clients before a holiday, like Thanksgiving. So you could use it for Thanksgiving and any other time of year, but I'm sending it to you guys now. So you'll have that in your email this week also. So if you want the recipe or one of my favorite shortcuts to have a healthier holiday while still enjoying the holiday, be sure you're a member. Go to glow.fm/salad with a side of fries. For just $10 a month, you get weekly recipes, a monthly article or tool, extra discounts from me and our partners, plus access to live Q&A sessions. It's a total deal. When you take advantage of the full offerings, you save far more than that $10 cost. It's a no-brainer way to show yourself that your health is a priority. Plus, being a member supports this podcast and this community so we can continue to do this with you every single week. So remember, you just have to go to glow.fm/salad with a side of fries, or just click the link in the episode notes below because that's a lot easier. And like you could do it now, but not if you're driving. Don't do it now. Okay, once you're there, you're going to click the little I agree button and then support now, enter your email and payment info, and you're all set. Oh, you have to click subscribe, and then you're all set. You'll get this week's recipe for the healthier pumpkin bread with maple cream cheese glaze and the guide to one of my favorite exercises for a healthier Thanksgiving. Okay, so going back, Cayla, you
Now I
experimented.
want the bread.
I know.
Yeah, me too.
Like you should have had it
I'm gonna have my
shipped here
sister
ahead of
make
time,
I know. That's the only drawback of remote recording, right?
some.
So, Cayla, you mentioned things that you had tested before. Paul, I remember you telling me a story of trying like some wild, like detox or cleanse or something
Oh
years ago.
gosh.
Kayla even remembers.
It
She's
was wild.
nodding.
Years
Right.
Oh
ago. It's
no.
been a couple,
Oh,
maybe.
yeah, I think I know what without, yeah, I had just done that before we worked together. It was a lot of liquid, and I lost a lot of weight very quickly. But that lasted about 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm familiar with that process for
yeah,
sure.
I remember, texting Kayla and her older sister saying, "You're not going to believe how much weight I'm down," and they're like, "That's great." But then a couple of weeks after, detox being over, significant portion of that was back. So I guess it'll work fine if you just only drink the liquid,
Right. Well,
but
what
that's
kind of
not a
life is
fun way.
that?
That's
Right.
not a fun way to live. Exactly. Maybe you want to enjoy what you put into your body. It didn't taste bad, but it just, you gotta have something solid,
Yeah,
you
for
know.
sure.
Unless it's an ice cream, then we're okay.
Right. We'll drink a milkshake, sure. I
Exactly.
don't think that's going to get the same results though,
No calories in a milkshake.
Right. But I'm curious, like, after having tried some of these things, whether on your own or something that, somebody told you to do or whatever, what made you like interested or curious in like health coaching, or what did you think health coaching was? Because I get that question a lot.
Wasn't entirely sure what to expect, but obviously we had an introductory discovery conversation, and it just seemed worthwhile trying. I mean, look, like if I would have had a bad result or no result, what would that have meant to me? Well, okay, I would have tried something and it didn't work out, and it would have cost some money and some time, and that happens sometimes in life. And I'm willing to say, all right, this is worth trying. I don't know what the outcome is going to be, so let's try and see if we can see if you learn just a couple of things, and you get a little bit of a result. Is that worth the time and the money? I mean, just like our friend who you recently introduced me to on a different subject, right? So let's try it and see where it can go. So yeah.
Yeah.
I'm willing to be open,
Right. I think, and a piece of that too, I think there's a common thread in anybody who chooses to work with a coach is to say, I recognize that there's something I don't know here, and I'm willing to learn and sort of have a guide or a Sherpa in the process. You know, Paul, we did one-on-one.
Yes.
And then I can't remember how far into working together we were when you said, my daughter wants to talk to you too. So Cayla, tell me about like, what were you seeing or what were you curious about that you were like, wait, me too?
Yeah, well, I mean, it definitely started because obviously my dad was working with you, and he would just like say something, and I'd be like, oh, no clue what that means. I had no idea what fiber was. I didn't know which food group was fiber. And like, yeah, sure, I've been gluten free and on and off other elimination diets, testing out what is best for me on a physical comfort scale, but in no way was I nutritious in any sense at all. So genuinely, I actually don't know how I was like functioning. I had probably no protein in my diet. I was definitely running on the fumes of carbs. And after probably one or two conversations with my dad, he was definitely just like, just do it, just try, give it a shot. Like I'll set up the appointment. And he's like, here's your number. And I was like, okay. And honestly, just knowing my dad, I knew that if I had been like, if at that point I was like, oh, never mind, he would have been like, well, why not? Like, what's the downfall? And then I would have been stuck with giving him a no good reason because I had no good reason. And so I was like, all right, I guess I'm trying this. And I really loved it. I feel like I got a lot from it. And so that's why I continued with it and try my best to continue with it now.
Yeah. Did you have any expectations in the beginning? Like, I think a lot of people, like you guys were saying, it was sort of like, I approached this with a what do I have to lose kind of
Mm,
feeling. But I also think there's a piece of saying, I'm going to commit time, effort, energy, money to something. Like, I got a goal. I want to hit it. This is part of the plan to get there. And I think some of those goals can be relatively universal, right? There's a lot of people who want to see the scale change. There's a lot of people, Paul, we had talked about your energy. Cayla, for you, it was literally how you moved through the day and being able to function without pain. What were your expectations of what was going to happen?
Ooh. I mean, after cutting out gluten and having such a insane shift in my life, I had pretty high expectations for that what my outcome was going to look like. And, I didn't even notice that my life was improving until I just until I actually looked around. I was like, oh, like I haven't been sick in however long, even though I've been sick every 3 months on the dot for the past 3 years. And,
Oh my
you know,
goodness.
yeah, who knew?
Right.
Who knew that, my immune system and nutrition and all of those things and vitamins all feed into each other and actually matter. But I didn't expect to learn as much as I did. I kind of was, I don't know, maybe I expected it to just be told, this is what you should eat and don't stray from that. But I definitely feel like I have unlocked some sort of knowledge that I just was so completely unaware of my entire life that I don't know, there's just nothing that could take that away from me now. I will just go through the rest of my life with this, which is really nice to say and be able to be confident in.
Yeah. I also think, you're spot on that you didn't know. How would any of us have known this? I didn't grow up knowing this either. Now you will,
Educational
right?
system is terrible.
Well, it's our educational system, it's our food system, it's our medical system, right? The structure of everything is designed to have us eating the flaming hot Cheetos, not recognizing that that's contributing to our lack of energy, literally our physical pain in every day for some people, right? And it's really, I say for some people, but the reality is it's only a matter of time. I had another client years ago who she had a lot of history. She was now sober. She was also, I guess, trigger warning, she was also a recovering self-mutilator. And it was one of those things where every time in her life, and she had a psychiatrist and a therapist and she really had the team around her. And she has made so much progress in her life. And then now, I come along and it's all of these behaviors had sort of always shifted to the food. And everybody had sort of said, this is acceptable. And the conversation that we ended up having was is it acceptable? It's a choice. It just takes longer to impact us than the other things that she was using before. I mean, sometimes that's a tough pill to swallow, but Cayla, I think you're such a golden example of what happens when we do learn this at an early age.
Oh, yeah. And I'm so grateful. I spend all day just spreading my wisdom, whether it's wanted or not. And,
she knocks on people's doors, salad with a side of fries.
We're going to help you. We're going to help you hone that so that people listen to you. Yeah.
all my friends know you by name because I quote you exactly. I just regurgitate the information that you have told me and say it word for word.
I am honored.
Do you quote her by name or do you quote her by title? Isn't she in your phone as Nutrition Goddess? Yeah.
Oh my God, I need a crown. That's what I should be for Halloween, right?
They definitely know her by name. I said to my roommate, I was like, "Oh, I'm going on Jen's podcast," and she's like, "All right."
That's awesome. I love it. Yeah. And Paul, what about for you? What expectations did you have, or what did you want to happen?
I wanted to address the, energy, sliding off the, side of the mountain situation. So that was huge. And then the rest was just to learn. And I mean, I never thought about, protein and fiber and doing them together. And, I mean, you've given, nuggets and tidbits. I do this, a few times a week now when I have an opportunity to cook breakfast for myself. I'll make eggs and I really like broccoli. Well, why not put the broccoli in the eggs? So now I'm, whenever I can, I'm making, eggs with more broccoli in it than there are eggs. But it's okay, I enjoy this, and that makes a big difference. And I feel full, and I feel satisfied, and I enjoy what I'm eating, and I don't feel guilty about, what I'm eating. And I'm, it's not sweets. So, a little thing like that. And you were certainly helpful, always helpful along the way. Text me the thing you're about to buy, and I'd text you the label, and you'd be like, what do you think? No, I didn't want you to ask me, what do
I
I
will
think?
always ask what
I,
you think.
I didn't want that. I wanted you to say to me, okay, here's what it is. And it was like always, okay, well, I'm not 100% sure, but, then we went back and forth. It's like, can you just give me the directions so I can know if I can buy it or not, or should buy it? But no, it was all good. I mean, you made it more of a learning process by having me involved rather than, saying, do it this way or don't do that. Yeah.
But I think that's actually, and like Cayla, this goes to what you were saying too. I think that's a big misconception about what coaching looks like, or working with somebody in this. Like the expectation maybe is that someone's going to say yes or no. Foods are going to fall into this list or the not eat it list, right? Like Cayla, you said before, like lose all your favorite foods, right? And then Paul, as we're going back and forth about a label or whatever, it's not a yes or no because everything is just choices.
Right.
And you get to make those choices. Those aren't choices for me to make.
Well, you've always said whenever we're out with, a social situation, I'm not the food police.
Right.
And you say it's very genuine. There's no judgment in that. It's very genuine. I'm not the food police. You can eat it or not.
Yeah. So I want to talk more about your transformations and some of those things, because you guys are all, you're both sharing these nuggets. So we're going to do more of that really quick. We'll highlight our partner for this episode. Big thanks to DNA Miracles for supporting Salad with a Side of Fries. Because every child is a miracle, DNA Miracles provides the highest quality body and wellness products designed for babies, children, and expectant mothers. All products are gentle, easy to use, and 100% effective when used as directed. DNA Miracles partnered with leading health professionals and scientists who follow the highest standards in ingredient selection to create the most effective skin, hair, and health solutions. As natural as possible, DNA Miracles is the best and safest option on the market for you and your little miracle. From expert pediatricians to real family testimonials, everyone has fallen in love with DNA Miracles. So today we're talking about real people upgrading their lives and their health, and how we do that for ourselves can inspire those around us, as we heard from Cayla. And for the littles in your life, I see it over and over that kids can benefit from a high quality multivitamin that can support their moods and then some. So the DNA Miracles, there's a couple different versions of the multivitamin. Paul, Cayla, you both take the adult versions of these formulas, but one in particular, it's the DNA Miracles Isotonics Multivitamin Plus, was formulated specifically to support the needs of children who need particular nutritional support for digestive, neurological, and metabolic health. Truly, it's a phenomenal formula that sets up your kids for success each and every day. And you can then, when you're ready, level up with the DNA Miracles Essential Omega-3. Because let's face it, kids are not eating sardines, anchovies, or even salmon. Let's be real, a lot of adults aren't either, right? So anyway, I think you'll agree that your little's health is worth a couple dollars a day. And that's before the discount for being a Salad with a Side of Fries listener. To get 10% off and free shipping on your order, text the word MIRACLES, MIRACLES, to 844-947-4846. You'll get the link and coupon code right to your phone. Again, simply text the word MIRACLES, MIRACLES, to 844-947-4846. This is a toll-free number. Standard text and data rates may apply. Okay. So Paul, you were talking about, before having eating vegetables. Initially, you had tons of sugar cravings. I remember Father's Day, you were like, wait, there's leftover ice cream cake that's been in the freezer for what? It's still there? Oh.
Oh, I'm sure there is. There's a downstairs freezer. I have got to go through that. It could be.
Yeah, but that would never have been the case before.
Well, you can never eat too much ice cream cake.
Right. But I think there's a lot of people out there who would be like, wait a minute, like you had it in the freezer and then it sat there and you forgot about it. Like it didn't have a voice and it wasn't calling your name. And, like nothing else had appeal until that was gone.
Yeah, there has to be a craving for the ice cream cake to go digging through the freezer now to find
Well,
it.
now, but at the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, no, now then just bring me up to a trough,
Yeah.
it's ice cream. I mean, it got to the point that when my mom was alive, she'd be like, "Do you have any ice cream cake in the house?"
Right. I hear from a lot of people that like when somebody else is eating stuff around us, right, then it makes us want it. And Paul, I pulled up notes from our session. So there was one
Oh
week where
boy.
you said, everyone else can eat stuff around me and I'm okay.
Mm.
I mean, talk about a change of life.
Yes, that's huge because, you know, letting somebody, I shouldn't say letting, like I have any choice in the matter, but they're eating it and it doesn't, like pull me in as much as it used to. As much, and I guess too, it's also about moderation. To your point before about you're going to eat what you eat, and you can choose what you want. You can choose one cookie instead of a sleeve, right? I mean, I'd love a sleeve of cookies, but it's not going to help
For the
anywhere. So
moment, but the
yeah,
reality is, right?
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So the one cookie, like I can enjoy that,
Yeah.
or a small piece of the ice cream cake, or buying ice cream out instead of getting the super size. You can get the small, or heaven forbid, the medium. Uh, but yeah.
Yeah. And it's also a function of, where you are in your, in the phase of things, right? Like when we were working together and right after, which now was like over a year ago, right? Maybe a
Yeah,
year and a half
probably
ago.
was. Yeah.
At that time, you were working toward this goal and we were very focused on things. And now it's more of the like gray area, living your life, enjoying the things, and still, keeping this on your radar, like you were saying with your breakfast these days, right? The eggs and the veggies. And, before, right? Like you were definitely a grazer, but it was mostly nuts and kind of
It,
sporadic.
yeah, it was. I think it was even less so nuts and more, more whatever random bars that I had bought at Costco. So
Yeah.
not even necessarily the good ones. And I remember years ago buying some bars at Costco. And then this was before we met, and somebody I knew at the time who was a chef, she looked at them and she said, "Did you read what it says here?" And I'm not going to repeat what it said, that the bars could potentially promote. But I'm like, yeah, I shouldn't buy those ever again
Yeah.
because you just don't want what that said.
Yeah, for
Yes.
sure. For sure. And Cayla, for you, I remember when we started and you were like, I'm not a gym person. Maybe I'll try yoga. And
Yeah, things
now,
have changed.
say
Things
more.
have changed. I mean, on the fitness level, or
Yeah.
yeah, well, I really, 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 really care about the gym. I have so many different fitness goals, and it's been one of the best changes that I've made in my life. I've always wanted to be a runner, and last year I decided that I just, the only way to get into that is to do it. And so started running, nothing major, but now I've dialed back on the cardio and on my weightlifting sort of speed of
Yeah.
things. I had whereas this prior summer you were my nutrition messiah,
Yeah.
this past summer I had a gym messiah and learned what it actually means to have a good workout.
Yeah.
And so now I start off every workout with a short 20-minute run just to put me in a good mood because I like it. But then I lift, and it's been really nice. I have muscles that I didn't know that I had before. In class, I'm constantly fitting my triceps to make sure that they're still there.
I promise they're still there.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and it's just, it is my first instinct. Like, if I look in the mirror, I'm going to be flexing. If that's it.
Right.
There's nothing else.
But I love this so much because I think to show the shift, because when we started and you were like, I don't like to work out. I really just want to eat my flaming
Mhm.
hot Cheetos and pasta. to now be in a place where you love the gym. It brings you joy. Running, not only does running not hurt you physically anymore, it brings you so much joy. And I think those are the
Yeah,
kind of things where, like, if I were to say that to somebody, that's what's potentially going to happen here, they would call me crazy.
I definitely would have called you crazy if you had told me that this would be where I am now when we started. I, it's one of those things. It's like you can't just go to the gym once and be done. Like you're not done after that. You have to go every day or every other day, very consistently to see any real progress. And you also need to, you can't outwork out a bad diet either. If you're consuming twice your daily intake that you should be, and running 3 miles at the end of the day, it's not going to make a difference. Like you're
Right.
not canceling out what the net, there's no net bad there. It's all bad.
Exactly. Well,
And
as we know, you can't outrun your fork, right? And
if your fork isn't so major
right.
that
Well, but even
if
still,
you're not
to
eating like all
support
the
that
processed,
activity, right? We need
yeah,
nutrition and fuel to support the
hmm
activity.
definitely to get better too.
Yeah.
But honestly, I would say the biggest change from working with you is just that I care now. I didn't care before, and honestly, that's probably why all of these major things have changed for me.
Yeah.
I didn't care what I put in my body. I would eat snacks until I was full for each meal. I had no concept of nutrition, but I didn't care to have a concept of nutrition or fitness or anything. And simply just caring, that's all I needed
Yeah.
to actually do the things that I maybe subconsciously knew I should do.
I want to ask a question because I think I could hear, like, somebody listening would be like, I theoretically want to care, right? But what was it that helped made that shift for you to care?
Learning how it all works, like what food groups do for you, and is a balanced meal. Like something about those little videos and that lady dressed up like a flight attendant. You know,
100%. She
I
really does look like a flight attendant. Yep.
Oh, I
yeah,
never thought of that. That's genius.
and it's also considering you had us answer questions and stuff. I wasn't able to do my normal. All right, I'll put it around on in the background and let it phase out. I rewatched those videos so many times because I zone out so easily. And after, enough times, I was finally able to answer the questions that you'd give. And, it's the learning is what made me start to care. I didn't have any of that knowledge before. So it was negligible to me. In the same way, like you don't know what you don't know. I didn't know to care about something I had so little understanding of. And so simply just by gaining a little more knowledge in those areas, naturally the care
Yeah.
came in. I was like, oh, I didn't have that much protein today or fiber, especially.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's where the coach or the guide comes in to help connect those dots and to, right? Then we learn over time that we can do this ourselves. You don't need somebody like me forever, right? It's like we can tweak and learn and maybe revisit and those kinds of things. But there's a piece of learning how to do this for yourself. I mean, I like put myself out of business, right? Like people, there are a million other coaches out there who are like, I don't understand how you run your practice. And I'm like, well, I don't think it's helpful for someone to need me for the rest of their life, So I think, Cayla, you're just a testament to that of like learning and having the support and help of somebody else to help connect those dots.
Yeah.
And then you can run with it.
And that's honestly why I'm so grateful for you and the program and my dad for setting me up with it because like I feel like I've broken a chain because not to throw my mom under the bus, but she also wasn't raised with any nutrition,
None of
her
us were.
family. My grandpa, her dad, when he died, all his organs were failing him. He was diabetic, didn't do anything about it, and that was how I ate, was how she ate in her household. And there was no nutrition at all. That wasn't even a factor. It was like, oh, what are we having for dinner? We're just having it for dinner because we want it, not because there's any sort of anything good built into that meal. And so the trajectory that like I was on before this if I ever have kids, like that's what my kids would have ended up having.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've been able to break that because, my mom grew up this way and then I grew up this way. And now I'm in charge now. If I ever have kids, I'm the one that's going to be feeding them a meal. And, there's going to be so much protein and fiber. It's like, I hate to say that I would probably end up being one of those parents that's like, all right, only treats on special occasions. I wouldn't do that, but I would consider it, because that processed stuff is terrible.
Right. Well, and you'll find the place for it, right? And for them and for yourself and all
Ugh.
that stuff. But like, speaking of all those things, because you used to eat a lot of that stuff and you were like, I'm going to
Mhm.
lose all my favorite foods. What are some of your favorite meals now?
Well, I still do love pasta. However, I have found many gluten-free pastas that are heavy in protein. And, a good red lentil pasta is my favorite thing ever. And, I can still throw some chicken on there because there's probably I think there's only 20 grams protein a serving in the pasta that I eat. So I like to bump it up a little bit. And especially now that I'm strength training,
Yep.
I need a little more protein in my diet in order to actually build any muscle. So I aim for higher protein goals these days.
Great.
And, I still love tomato paste. I know that's so weird to everybody else. They bully me for it, but I love tomato products. And, if that means tomatoes in the most raw form,
Well, and you
that's it.
learned, right? We did a lot with tofu with you.
Oh yeah, I eat
Yeah.
so much tofu, but I'm starting to branch into chicken.
I heard that just
However,
now.
yes, yeah, it's insane. No, I'm starting to branch into chicken, but it's because I've been buying the pre-cooked chicken from Whole
Yeah.
Foods, which will need to stop soon because it's about $8 for 2 servings, which is ridiculous.
Is it though?
So
Because I don't
I'll,
know.
I
I've
just,
If you're
seen a
going to
lot
eat it,
worse.
it's,
I
yeah,
know.
well, I eat it. However, the point is I just need I need to learn to cook chicken.
Right. That too. Right.
I can't do this for the rest of my life. It's a good introductory to
When
chicken
I was in
to have this.
college, we had the Foreman grill, and I
ah,
used to make
Ah,
chicken on a
yes.
George Foreman. I date myself. Did you guys have one of those in your house though? No. Okay.
no, I don't think so. You ever have a George Foreman grill? Okay, I don't think so. No.
No.
You're gonna
Well,
Google
either
it after
way,
we hang.
yeah. Either way, I will be getting some chicken in my next grocery shop, and I plan to conquer that this weekend.
Love it.
So, yeah.
I know. Well, the other thing that I wanted to point out, and Paul, this comes back to you, is, and Cayla, what you were saying is like, we learned what our family did. We learned what we saw our parents and grandparents do. And it's why so many people say to me, oh, it's genetic. And what we have to realize is that there's more than genetics that run in families. What also runs in families is lifestyle. And we learn these things. And so a lot of times we think something is genetic. We think something that's showing up in our blood work or whatever is just what it is, and we're doomed. And the truth is that you're not. You can see the benefits in your blood work. It's actually both of you have, that it happens. And we can, I have to be careful saying this, but we can reverse disease in the body, you know?
Sure.
So, Paul, Cayla, those were like such powerful takeaways. I'm like having a moment over here. So, thank
They
you.
really were.
I know.
It's like,
Um,
end it right there.
I know. So, but I want to come back to you, Paul. So, like a final thought, a takeaway, something you've learned or gained through, the process of working together and then some, and even seeing Cayla, and paying it forward.
Well, certainly, reading labels, it's not something I did much of or did to the extent. And even now, I could probably use a refresher because it's important stuff. So that's huge. The protein and fiber never occurred to me in the same thought. When as a guy who subsisted on bars, and I don't mean like candy bars, they're probably a step above, but at the office, I'm being more careful about what I'm choosing, when I have that. And if I'm getting tired, am I low on protein? Maybe that, so it's about being aware of what's going on. I mean, maybe that's part of the reason now why I'm tired or
Well, it's also evening as we're
Yeah.
recording this. So
Well,
yeah.
I'm not tired. I'm not tired now, but yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. That was at 3:00.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I pulled up a couple things, Paul, from the end of our sessions. And you said, and I think this is really powerful, it's about being healthy and well while you're here.
Yes.
Say more.
Well, look, none of us controls our destiny, our fate, right? We might have another 10 minutes. We might have another, 40 years. So that part you can't control outside of eating well and exercising, but there are things that happen. Sometimes there are accidents and whatever. And so you can control the quality more so than you can control the quantity. I don't know what's the amount of years that are left. None of us knows that. But if I can control the quality and be healthy and be available for the things I want to do and be healthy and around for my family. I think to your grandma, Kay, yeah, she got older, but she still had quality. She could still do the things, she wanted to do, with you and your sisters. So, yeah. So about having that quality.
Yeah. It's the life that we...
Boy, you with the quotes,
I know.
It's like, oh, man.
Right.
Did I predict what the stock market was going to be back then, too?
Right. My note taking is very chicken scratch because I still do it by hand as we're... But I think the point of what you're saying is really that, like, we're actually a lot more in control of how we feel and the life that we want to live.
Mm-hmm.
And claiming that for ourselves, is maybe not only the greatest gift for ourselves, but the greatest gift to the people around us. And I think to wrap this up, right? Like, it sounds cliche as I'm have this in my head, but like, everybody is different. What you two have experienced certainly, I know it's going to resonate with people listening. And also, what anybody else is going to experience in this kind of thing is entirely individual to them. So, whether you're looking to support energy or figure out how to find time to work out in your day or do the things that we quote unquote know we're supposed to do, I guess my hope is that everybody has heard something that resonates with them and that it's opened their eyes to options that maybe you didn't think about before and maybe your doctor hasn't told you about before, because this is a different tool belt.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Excellent.
All right. I want to preview our nutrition nugget. So on Friday, we're talking about Panera. Do you guys go to Panera?
I can't remember the last time, but
I know. Well,
I do not.
Yeah.
Well, we're cityites. I think, like when I go out to Long Island or suburbia, there's more of those chains. So if you listen here often or you've worked with me like Paul and Cayla have, I believe you'll know that I believe that part of meal prep is learning how to read a menu. So together, we're going to look at the Panera menu. And I'm going to give you some of my favorite health and blood sugar friendly options on Friday in this week's Nutrition Nugget bonus episode. So be sure, click the follow or the plus sign on the app where you're listening, and your app will remind you when the Nutrition Nugget is live on Friday morning.
I love it.
All right. Well, as always, everyone, I'm your host, Jenn Trepeck. Connect with me on Instagram or all social media. I'm at Jenn Trepeck, JENNTREPECK. Website is asaladwithasideofries.com. Pick your platform, send a message. I really love hearing from you. So please send your questions, your ideas, your takeaways. And if you want, you can learn more about working with me as your health coach too. Paul, Cayla, thank you for joining me.
Of course.
Thank you for having us.
And thank you for sharing your stories. I know it is not easy.
Appreciate being here.
Of course. And everybody, if you are not already, join our membership program by going to glow.fm/salad with a side of fries to show your support for this podcast, this community, and your health. You'll get this week's recipe for the healthier pumpkin bread with maple cream cheese glaze and the guide to one of my favorite exercises for a healthier Thanksgiving. So until next week, remember, no matter what you've tried before, no matter where you are in life, there is hope, and I can help you get where you want to go. Well, friends, that's it for today's episode of Salad with a Side of Fries. Congratulations for making yourself and your health a priority. Thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to click subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast platform, share us with a friend, and we'll be back next week. Always remember, you deserve it and you are worth it. Happy healthy.